Alright, welcome to Reviews VIII. Today we're going to talk about Temple of Doom.
Definitely talk about some Temple of Doom. Okay, Temple of Doom, my favorite movie in the Indiana Jones trilogy.
I guess if you're wondering why we picked Temple of Doom out of all three of them, it's because I guess we want to talk about it because it's the one that's different.
It's different, and I noticed that some people give Temple of Doom a hard time. And I thought it was my favorite one in the whole series, but it was the one I grew up on. It's my favorite one.
Well, I mean, that may just be a reason why people don't like it. It's just because it's different. I mean,
yeah.
you can make a lot of overlapping themes in the first one and third one, but the second one just seemed to be very odd.
Well, it's odd
and that may have turned off some people towards it.
Yeah, because it was just completely different from the other two. But see, people don't realize that new is not bad. It's not necessarily bad. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark had its charm. It was good. Last Crusade had its charm. It had its good stuff. It was good. Yeah. But Temple of Doom is so different. Because even Indiana Jones' character is kind of different. Because in Temple of Doom, he's just badass. He's almost like a James Bond type character. Like
in
really
the
cool.
opening, yeah.
Yeah, in the opening, but also just with the...
Yeah, I just don't get why people think that because you take something out of an element, even for just a little bit or just one scene, that it automatically sucks. And it's like, no, it can...
It's just different. Empire Strikes Back...
It can be different and suck. I mean, Crystal Skull was different.
Crystal Skull was different.
And it sucked, but I think with Temple of Doom, it was different, but it was different in a good way.
And it was really good, whereas Temple of Doom didn't really have like the... You know how the first Raiders of the Lost Ark had like the Old Testament stuff in it, the Ark and all that stuff, and then the third one had the Grail, Christian stuff like that, and then the middle one is just totally different. Just has the whole voodoo Indian kind of thing going, and it really worked. And that was the first movie that really got me to like Harrison Ford, was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, because it showed how badass Indiana Jones was, the stuff he did on that. Because there was just so many parts in that movie where he was just fucking awesome. Like when he stabbed the guy with the shish kebab, that was fucking cool. I mean, that was gross, but that was cool.
I think out of all three films, this is probably the one that feels more like an adventure.
Yes, definitely.
Now I know... now some people are going to say, no, Last Crusade kind of seemed more to be the adventurous one. Well, here's what I mean by adventure. I mean that there's not this over... With Last Crusade and Raiders, there's this overarching theme with Nazis and some archaeological artifact, and there's this big overlapping story. And so what I mean by adventure, is that there's not this big overlapping thing over the whole movie, and it's just one thing is leading to another, to another, to another. Like in the opening, he's trying to he's doing this deal with these, I guess, Chinese gangsters with this thing, and that leads to him getting on the it ends up in the airplane, and then the airplane ends up over the mountains, and then over the mountains it ends up in the river, and then they end up in this Indian village. So by adventures, I just means that it's just going on one thing, then another, then another, then another.
Because you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah,
which really makes it an adventure, because you don't know where it's going. You're like, the movie starts fast, and it never lets you go.
Yeah, without this overarching plot over it. It's just kind of like, okay, we're in China, now we're in the Himalayas, now we're in India, now we're here, now we're there.
And what I really enjoyed from it is how, when he talks to the leader guy of the Indian tribe, I guess it's the Indian tribe. Would you say it was the Indian tribe?
Yeah.
Indian tribe.
Yeah, I think at that point.
When he told Indiana Jones that he was chosen to be there, I thought that was cool, that it was kind of like fate. He was meant to be there to help those people out. I didn't
know that part.
It kind of made him like this badass hero. And there's another part in it that made me, in this one, it's the only movie where Indiana Jones wins. And let me tell you why. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, he really didn't win. He just closed his eyes as other people killed themselves. And Last Crusade, he really didn't win. That girl had to trick that guy into killing himself with drinking out of the wrong glass. Indiana Jones always had assistants. And Temple of Doom, he did it on his own. He killed that guy. He knocked the rock out of his hand and killed him. It was the first one he actually won. Like,
well, I mean, in the other ones, he also kind of won.
I mean, he did kind of win, but this one that was just he did it himself.
In this one, it was more direct. Though.
And what was awesome, there's another scene in it where Indiana Jones is just standing there, and like this guy sees him, and he's just standing there looking mean, and then all you hear is boom, 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 and the guy goes flying back. I mean, that's the kind of Indiana Jones I want. Just this bad motherfucker, man. That's what I love that one. That's just.
Yeah, and some people have complained about the girl in the movie, which really a lot of people really like the girl from Raiders. I thought
she was kind of bland to me. She was kind of bland.
I didn't think she was that big. I mean, she wasn't bad, but I didn't think she was as big a deal as people make her out to be. And the girl in the third one, she was kind of a villain / maybe love interest. But in the second one, people just really don't like her because they say she's annoying and all this other stuff. But to me, her character was just kind of a fish out of water character.
And she was kind of like the damsel in distress.
Yeah, and like it's not like, I mean, when they introduced her, she's wearing this real fancy dress and real high style, really high strung and everything. And then she gets thrown into this adventure of jungles and satanic worship and all this other stuff. So she's out of her element. So all her whining and all her complaining and all her everything, it didn't really bother me, because if this girl was really in this situation, that's how she would be.
Yeah, she's out of her element. If she was
this really high strung girl and just really pampered and all this stuff, all of a sudden she's on an elephant in the jungle, yeah, she would probably act that way.
And a lot of people complained about the kid, said the kid was annoying. Now, I'll admit sometimes the kid was annoying, but he was kind of like the comic relief. He was Indiana Jones' partner in crime. I had no problem with it.
Yeah, people there's something about movies that people kind of need to understand, and that is sometimes there's characters like that, like the kid and the girl, that are there because if they're not there, then the plot just kind of seems to drag, or it becomes serious and it becomes too serious. Like, so in order to break the ice for a little bit, in order to give the audience kind of a refresher, then you do something with the girl where she's doing something dumb, and then it's like, okay, now that we got refreshed with this comedy thing, now we can go back to being serious.
Yeah, it gives different elements of the film. You have 3 different characters, and they each have different personality, and it just makes for a fun, wild adventure. And
that's kind of what Indiana Jones movies are. Is that they're filled with these, kind of. I don't want to say over the top characters, but they're filled with these like overly defined characters where it's like, oh, you're the girl and you do this and you do that, and oh, you're the little kid, you act this way, you do this, you do that. You're Indiana Jones, you do this and you do that, and that's what all the movies are. I mean, the first one is like that. The evil guy is just evil and that's all he does. And the girl who drinks at the bar, that's just all she does. She's like tough or whatever.
She's a tough girl that drinks.
And then in the third movie, the dad is the
out
dad,
of his element.
Yeah, and he acts like a dad all the time and everything.
He's not a fighter. He's not a tough guy. He's an educator. Yeah. He's smart.
And even Brody or what's the museum guy? What's his name?
I think it is Brody. Yeah, he's out of his element all the time.
Yeah, he's also out of. I don't hear people saying, "Oh man, that guy's annoying." He doesn't, and like he doesn't. He fumbles around. People talk about him about how he got lost in his own museum. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of bumbling and everything. But yeah, it's just like he's out of his element. You accept it. You're like, yeah, if a guy who ran a museum would suddenly be in this, big Nazi archaeological adventure thing, yeah, he'd be out of his element, and you don't complain about it. That's kind of how I saw the girl in the second movie.
Yeah, and she was there. She was out of her element, and she was funny, and I enjoyed her. But what I liked about this movie the most is how it was so dark. It was so dark when they were ripping out hearts. That was
I didn't
awesome.
see it when it came out because I wasn't around. When did it come out? Like
it came out like in '82. I was about 2 years old.
I wasn't even around.
Yeah, you weren't around yet.
But that's kind of a movie. Even I would stay away from. Like I remember my dad rented it one time, and then he was like, "Hey, you want to watch this?" And then I remember at the library there was a picture book of it. And just seeing all the like the dark scenes in it and everything. I mean, I was young at the time, and I was just like, man, that must be a scary movie and whatever. Well, I finally got around to watching it, and it was pretty.
It was brutal with the whole dinner scene when they're cutting open snakes, eating baby snake, monkey brains. There's an eyeball in the soup. I mean, it had some pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, man. And I hate how people immediately want to jump on like, oh, it was racist, or it was this, or it was that. And I said, look, guys, this is a movie that's supposed to be like about the 1940s, and you're adventuring, and you're going to wild, exotic places where they do exotic things like eat bat dung or some weird, crazy stuff. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to have some of that where it's like the sideshow and everything, and people immediately want to jump on the whole like the dinner scene. They say, oh, that's racist, and that's this, and that's that, and I'm saying, look, part of what this movie is, okay, it's not just dark, but it's also very odd.
Yeah.
And really, the dinner scene, that's what it is. It's just this big, it's this big scene of just showcasing a bunch of oddities.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure George Lucas wasn't there and said, man, I really hate Indian people. Let me show them in a negative light. Yeah, let's do that. No, he was probably like, hey, what's some oddity that we can throw in here? Okay, they eat weird food. Let's throw that in there, you know? And that's all it is. It's like the movie takes a detour, and now it's a sideshow, and you're seeing weird things.
It's so different from the other ones. Yeah. You know, how he decides to help them. He goes there, and he does his thing. He finds the statue. You know, he does his archaeological work. I know that's not a word. He does what he does, and it's the only Indiana Jones where I really feel like I'm on an action adventure, because you don't know what's going to happen next because they don't explain it. They're not going to say, look, they're going to go in this room and this. They're not going. It gets explained a little bit, and you're just there for the ride, trying to guess what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, stuff happened. Everything from hearts getting pulled out of chest, and Harrison Ford or Indiana Jones getting possessed
by drinking that blood. That was brutal, dude.
And the bridge scene and everything. I mean, that's why to me, you know, again, this is the most adventurous out of all the three, because you don't know. I mean, in the other movies, they explain what the plot is, and it's just kind of like, okay, the movie has to fulfill all that somehow. And it's fun, and yes, it's adventurous. But in this one, you're just kind of like, I have no idea what's going on. I kind of get what they're against and what they have to do, but just so much stuff comes unexpectedly, like, or even with the voodoo doll, with the Indiana Jones voodoo doll. I mean, that's just kind of like, oh, okay.
And the roller coaster part was fucking badass, dude. And what's so funny is if you ask people about Indiana Jones, if I talk to somebody about Indiana Jones, they mention the hearts being, they mention Temple of Doom. They mention the hearts being ripped out, all that. They mention Temple of Doom.
Yeah. I mean, it is referenced.
It's referenced a lot.
Yeah, like people talk about the bridge scene, the heart scene, or the dinner scene. And stuff like that.
The cutting the bridge. That was genius. when he cut the bridge, that was genius.
Yeah. That was back when Indiana Jones killed people.
Yeah, and that was the thing, because I grew up with Temple of Doom, and then somebody said, watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I was bored, because I was used to Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom started, and it never let you go.
Well, Raiders, here's how I see the three films. The first one was really archaeological.
There you go, archaeological.
It sets up Indiana Jones as being this archaeological guy, which is really what he is. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is more adventure, and it just sets up Indiana Jones as kind of an adventurer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one just kind of shows you what you've already seen, but it's the third one. It's both the adventure and the archaeology.
It's a good trilogy for sure.
And so
and same thing too with the first Star Wars. It was an adventure, action, just fun time. The second one was dark. Just like Temple of Doom, it was dark and it was kind of depressing, but it also had good action. And then the third one was kind of all action and kind of happy. Like it just kind of boom, boom, boom. It's like George Lucas ripped off his own series with doing the Indiana Jones one. But yeah, Temple of Doom's definitely, that's probably my top 10.
Yeah. And people do reference jumping out of the airplane as kind of being over the top and everything. Well, it is over the top. Yeah. I mean, if you watch it, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, it's totally believable. But see, here's something that kind of helps that out. One, it's a practical effect, so you're at least seeing it. I mean, of course, it's edited. It's all this stuff. They probably use miniatures, all this other stuff. But at least it's a practical effect, so you're at least seeing it, as opposed to it being CGI'd, where that just kind of takes you out of it. And two, the stunt has some gags to it where it's like, oh, they're jumping off a plane. Okay. Oh, but they're on this raft and that has air in it, so maybe it lightens it a little bit. And it's like, okay, so it landed on snow, so it didn't land on ground, so maybe that, and then it flies off a cliff.
Yeah.
But again, you're still like, okay, they're in a raft though, so maybe air, I don't know. And then they land in water, so it's like, oh, a raft, and now it's in water.
Yeah.
So is it over the top? Sure. Yeah. Is it not believable? Sure. But does it work? Yeah, it works.
Just like a giant ball chasing him down. I mean, is that practical? Is that real? A giant ball chasing you down?
And
climbing on top of a truck and climbing under the truck and back on top of it? Come on. I mean,
it's just pure Indiana Jones going over the top stuff, but it works, and there's so much stuff to make it work.
Now, in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that did not work. That did not work at all.
And see, that's why people criticize that so much, because there's not enough going for it, so that people will say, oh yeah, this is a stunt that I'll go with. No, this is something in Crystal Skull they go completely against it. The giant waterfalls just look way too
CGI, and all three of them, and
it just takes you out of it. And
the
so
monkey
that makes,
part, you can't take it seriously. The ants eating people, you can't take that seriously.
Yeah, it takes you so much out of it that you start thinking things like, well, wouldn't they die if they fell out the waterfall?
Whereas in Temple of Doom and the other ones,
or wouldn't Indiana Jones die in a nuclear explosion or everything? It just takes you out of it enough that you start to question things like that. Whereas in the other movies, are they over the top? Are they? Yeah, sure, but they work, and you don't start thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah, and Temple of Doom had a cool villain too, because you really didn't know the villain till the middle of the movie. You didn't know who the villain was, and then when you met him, he was kind of cool. He's one of my favorite villains in the whole series. He was just this cool, evil.
You can't really top Nazis, though.
Well, that's true, but I was tired of Nazis after seeing them in 2 movies. But what I liked about the bad guy in Temple of Doom was he had that laugh, he had that laugh that was so creepy. And if you notice in Temple of Doom, it had a nod to the first Indiana Jones when those 2 guys come at him and they swing their swords and he smiles and he reaches to get his gun but he doesn't have it and he starts laughing. I thought that was a good nod to Raiders. Most people don't know that this movie is before Raiders. Just want to throw that in there.
It takes place before
It takes place before Raiders.
Yeah, but it's not...
It's not a prequel, though. It doesn't set up Raiders. Yeah. But it takes place before Raiders. It's kind of weird.
I don't think too many people were caring about that. This was before that. But yeah, just going back to Temple of Doom being dark, this movie is actually the reason why there's the PG rating.
Yeah, the PG-13, right? Or just the PG?
The PG.
Oh, the PG, yeah.
Because...
It was only PG?
Yeah.
Damn!
Yeah, if it came out today, it'd probably be like 13
it'd see 17 probably.
Nah, it'd probably be PG-13 for sure. If anything, just for the heart scene.
Definitely
but, PG. But yeah, because when this movie, I guess when they were rating it, they said, well, this is not G. Mm-mm. This is not general audience stuff, but we can't really say it's PG-13. And again, this is just the times. We can't really say this is PG-13 either. So like what rating are we gonna give it? We don't want to give it 13 because that makes it look like it's too adult, and we don't want to give it G because it's not really like
it's not a kid friendly,
you know, like all ages type of deal. So they came out with PG, which was parental guidance.
I mean, you have a person getting burned alive that you watch get burned alive. You see somebody's heart get ripped out.
And sometimes, I will say this, sometimes it's fun when directors will take their series and they'll say, you know what, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't mean I don't care as in, you know, this is going to suck now. But instead of like, I don't care, you know, so-and-so is going to suffer. I know people really like him, but we're going to make him suffer, you know, in this movie.
Yeah.
Or we're going to go dark, or so-and-so is going to die, or it's just really dark. And I don't care if people thought this was, you know, a fun for the whole family thing. We're just going to go dark, and I just don't care. I'm just going through a bad time, and I'm kind of pissed off, and I'm going to make this movie dark. Sometimes it's fun when it happens because you get movies like Temple of Doom.
Hell yeah.
Lucas was going through a divorce.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When that movie got made. So he was not the big, joyful, you know, let's make Star Wars fun, adventure, whatever. No, he was like, we need to go dark on this film.
And it was...
We need to go dark. I'm going through crap, and Indiana Jones is going to go through crap. So let's do that.
Yeah, Temple of Doom.
And sometimes it's fun with stuff like, I mean, you know, I'm not saying George Lucas going through divorce was a cool thing, but
when you get to, I love
but
movies.
Sometimes when directors do that, it's sometimes you get a really good outcome out of it.
And Temple of Doom was one of my favorite sequels.
And some people have actually brought that up, that now that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are kind of settled and happy and all this other stuff, their movies kind of reflect that. It's just, you know. Anything else on Temple of Doom?
No, just Temple of Doom is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I hear a lot of people give it hell just because it's different, but different. I just want people to know.
Most of the reason I think people give it hell is because of the girl character, which really,
oh yeah,
all you have to do is think for 2 seconds about what the character is, what kind of girl she is, all this other stuff, and it makes sense. And the little kid too. I mean, people say, oh he's annoying. I'm like, he's a kid, and he's not trying to play this like in movies nowadays. They'll have a kid character, but he's supposed to be important, and he's supposed to be a deep character and all this other stuff. But in the back of your head, you know he's just this snob kid.
Yeah.
And in Temple of Doom, this kid isn't trying to be this oh so important character. No, he's just a kid. He's going to say things kids say. He's going to be annoying like a kid. And that's the whole point of his character. And, you know, it just, you know, to me, I didn't think it was annoying to the point where I had to complain about the movie. Oh, they shouldn't have had him in there.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Because I mean, think about it. If you don't have the girl character and the kid,
you wouldn't have much of a story.
It's just no, not that. It's just you would just have Indiana Jones being serious all the time.
Oh yeah. And
that would just that would make the movie drag. You know, because it's like, man, you know, can we get like a joke?
I think that's
what
was wrong with Kingdom of Crystal Skull. There was no unique good characters.
Well, Shia LaBeouf was supposed to fill that role, but he didn't. He didn't fill it at all.
He was annoying. But yeah, Temple of Doom. I recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. That's one of my favorite movies. My favorite Indiana Jones.
What would you give it from 1 to 10?
I give it like an 8.5.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a somewhere around there, like a 8, 9 maybe pushing it, but I would give it probably the same thing, like an 8.5, 8.5. I definitely I definitely think it is a better movie than people give it credit for.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that.
And I really don't get where the complaints come from. I mean, I don't know. I guess people decide to hate one type of character, and anything that fits the mold, you know, they have to hate that now. So, you know, and I just don't think that's the case. I think yes, you know, the girl character, she's you know, she complains a lot. She does, but in her case, it actually makes sense, and it's and it can actually be funny at times. But yeah, you know, I just don't think that, you know, if you have a whiny character and and it's annoying in one movie and it's annoying in another movie, you know, don't assume that it has to be annoying for everything.
Yeah.
You know, it could actually...
It doesn't destroy the movie.
Yeah, it could actually make sense in other movies.
Yeah, it doesn't destroy the
not
movie.
destroy it.
The movie's fine.
Well, I think that's all for us for reviews 8 on Temple of Doom.
Happy YouTubing.